Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel, and here's a headline from Xi Crypto. Is XRP on the verge of parabolic rise following this game-changing Ripple deal? Question mark? Which is why my voice goes up like this because of that question. Well, a couple things right off the bat here. I actually do believe that it's quite possible, perhaps very probable, that XRP is on the verge of a parabolic rise. But the reason that I say that is very different than the reason that they're talking about in this article. In fact, the content that they're covering in this article, I actually, I intentionally say, look, here's the deal. When I'm deciding what to cover in a day, I have to be selective. And sometimes I'm on the fence and it can be very difficult to decide what topics to cover because there just isn't enough damn time. So basically every single day when I'm recording, I talk for usually 45 to 60 minutes. That's about it. Sometimes it's a little bit more, but that's pretty much it. And then I chop that up into 3 videos. So it's basically like every day I'm running a very short radio program. So I have to be really selective about what I talk about. There's one topic which, it's not that it's not interesting. I wanted to cover it. I almost did, in fact. But it's very similar to certain things that I have really gone into great detail in the past. So I'm going to talk about it here just to point out that they are wrong for thinking this is a thing that is going to drive the price of XRP when there are very good reasons to believe that XRP, even at this exact moment, may be on the verge of a very positive price move way to the upside. And I do think that's possible. But to be clear, and before going any further, to be clear, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And so you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And I wanted to mention something just to kick this video off. It's a short story, a personal short story, part of my crypto adventure. And it just kind of made me chuckle. So I just wanted to mention this. So you may have heard the news yesterday that Coinbase, they finally airdropped Flare tokens to their customers after delaying. They should have done it months ago, but they didn't. They delayed it. It's inexcusable so far as I'm concerned. They ended up getting sued by an XRP community member, attorney Fred Rispoli, representing people. And that was one of the reasons why. They still haven't given out the Songbird token, but that's a whole different thing. But the good news is they finally distributed the Flare token, and perhaps sooner than they otherwise would have if not for the lawsuit. So there's certainly possibility there's some credit there. But there's a tweet on the screen here from the Flare community Twitter account who wrote, "Did you receive Flare from Coinbase today? Start utilizing it ASAP. I would recommend withdrawing, wrapping, and delegating in order to be eligible for delegation rewards and future Flare airdrops." And then provided the link to guide you that. And I would recommend also, like, if you're interested, look into that because I personally did wrap and delegate my Flare, but that's a whole different thing. That's not the reason I'm talking about this. The reason I'm even mentioning this again is because yesterday I came across a story which stated that Coinbase, not just did they do the airdrop, but that they had already begun trading for Flare on Coinbase. Now, I thought that doesn't sound right because I had read from Coinbase themselves earlier in the day that, yes, they intend to allow trading for Flare on their platform, but liquidity conditions have to be met. And so, I get that. That's fine. So if it takes them a hot minute to get that going, they want to make the money off the buying and selling of Flare. So yeah, sure. So I thought that seemed a bit peculiar. So I was like, okay, rather than trying to Google around and, just seeing if this stories are contradicting or whatever, I was like, I'm just going to go into my Coinbase account. So I logged into my Coinbase account and I was on my phone, putting the 2FA, I get in there and I type in, because you click on, where you can type in what asset you want to look at. So I type in FLR for Flare and I pull it up and it's not tradable, which didn't surprise me. That is what I expected. So the crypto media outlet was wrong. But again, a bunch of students running crypto media. So it's like, what do you expect here? So that's fine. So anyway, that was wrong, although the trading should be coming. But the reason I wanted to mention this is because I looked at the screen and I was like, holy freaking hell, I got a Flare airdrop from Coinbase. I kid you not. I got a Flare airdrop from Coinbase. Now, I have been self-custodying my XRP since almost the beginning. I first custodied my XRP at the end of 2017. And that was right after I jumped into crypto. I figured out how to do it. I was like, I'm never leaving my XRP on exchange. So it has been on, after I purchase, I immediately move it off exchange, goes into my own personal storage. I use Ledger hardware wallets. And I got multiple of them. So anyway, I was like, how the hell did I get a Flare airdrop here on Coinbase? And then I realized what had happened. You want to know how big my Flare airdrop was? Because now normally I'm not going to tell you what my holdings are, and this is not representative of how much Flare I hold. I hold much more than this. But you want to know what my Flare airdrop was on Coinbase? I'll tell you that. It was 0.15 Flare. Exactly 0.15 Flare. Now, why did I get 0.15 Flare? Well, because on the snapshot date in December of 2020 for this airdrop, I had 1 XRP on Coinbase and I didn't freaking know it. As it turns out, that 1 XRP has been on Coinbase since August of 2020. I had no freaking idea. So apparently I'm very sloppy with my crypto, and I didn't know that I wasn't taking self-custody of that one. So I couldn't help but laugh. I was like, my God, this is stupid as hell. So I have 1 XRP on there, and now I have 0.15 Flare. I'm just going to leave it forever. I'm just not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave it forever. And the reason that I didn't notice is because, look, first of all, I don't frequently buy crypto. Like, my bags are pretty well packed, and when I do, sometimes it's just bigger purchases, and I talk about it when I do. But I do have like little scraps of various coins left over that technically I'm not taking in self-custody. I mean, we've all done that, right? Like, you're on an exchange, and especially in years past where there wasn't, it was for some exchanges, and this is kind of a pet peeve of mine, you couldn't just hit max and then they deduct the amount. You had to like do the math of what the exchange fee would be or the network fee would be, or else the transfer would fail. And it was just like annoying. And maybe it's not so much a problem in 2023, but in years past it was more of a problem. So I was just in this habit way back, especially in the first couple of years being in crypto, where I'd just be like, well, I'll just leave the little scrap behind. I don't care. It's almost nothing. And so I got these little scraps from various transactions, and I didn't think about them, and I didn't realize that one of them was XRP, though. I had no idea I had that. So I got a Flare airdrop. How about that? So anyway, custody your crypto. Just saying that. But as far as what's going on here with XRP and this move to the upside, again, here's the headline: is XRP on the verge of parabolic rise following this game-changing Ripple deal? And so again, this is in the news the other day, and I didn't even feel like talking about it because it has to do with something that, while important, I don't deny that it is important and is an aspect that we should be aware of as XRP holders. It's good for the overall ecosystem, especially when we're talking about XRP being an important piece of increasing the velocity of money. Still, there have been some other developments like this. It doesn't drive me wild. I'm glad for it. I'm not convinced that it's a driver of price. In fact, I think there's enough evidence to indicate that anything that Ripple does has no impact on price. The SEC has an impact on price if they want to sue Ripple. That had an impact. But what Ripple doesn't have an impact. The SEC has a greater impact on XRP price than Ripple does. That's a fact. But anyway, the article reads as follows. Blockchain payments company Ripple, which often dominates the headlines across the crypto space due to its long-standing legal feud with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, recently announced that it had signed an agreement with the Central Bank of Montenegro, CBCG, to create a pilot program for a central bank digital currency. The partnership, first teased in January this year, aims to develop a national currency for a nation that currently uses the euro. And then they note that the price of XRP rose on the news, but it was alongside a broader crypto market rally. And so just the entire idea posited here that perhaps this news, while positive admittedly, would cause potentially a price of XRP to go parabolic, I think it's just completely silly. Having been in this space and holding XRP since 2017, I can tell you quite confidently, when Ripple shares good news, XRP does not respond in terms of price action. It just doesn't. And we end up finding out, that there are so many XRP holders who don't even know that, like what Ripple is at this point, especially at this point. And so it's not surprising that the news came out and then it didn't move. If it would have by now as a result of this. It's going to go parabolic because of this. It's not like the news breaks. It's parabolic worthy in terms of price action. And then a week later it happens. That's silly nonsense. And so I felt the desire to kind of correct this narrative because it's just not true. And you know me, I'm Mr. XRP Bull. XRP is my favorite cryptocurrency. If I could only hold one cryptocurrency on the planet right now, and I hold about 30, if I could only hold one, I would pick XRP for a ton of reasons I've been articulating for many years on end. But this isn't one of them. And so in terms of why might XRP go parabolic, well, let's break it down in simple terms here. We're at the beginning phase of a bull market in crypto in general. And then you have the imminent conclusion of the SEC v. Ripple case, which I think is likely to be positive for XRP holders, even if Ripple technically loses. There can be a really solid, good path forward for XRP holders, which is what matters. I think markets respond favorably. Now that would cause the price of XRP to go just ballistic. That's my suspicion anyway. No one knows for sure what will happen, but I think it's pretty reason to suspect that may very well occur. So you compare that truly important, crucial news to this, I just don't think so. And again, just to be clear, in case it wasn't evident what they're talking about here, Ripple, and they announced this years ago, Ripple created a template blockchain effectively that any nation can use to create their own central bank digital currency. It's literally a copy of the actual XRP ledger, which is open source software, and then it's tweaked. And so the starting point is a template. It is what it is. I don't know all the specifics, but it can also be tweaked because, anytime a central bank digital currency is launched, it's kind of important if you're talking about your monetary sovereignty as a nation, if that's at stake, kind of important that you have complete and utter control over it. If you're running a nation, don't you think isn't that kind of important to you? So if there's what if there's a bug and you need to claw back transactions or this or that, which you can't do in a decentralized system necessarily? Well, you'd want to be able to do that. What if you want to create more money into just out of thin air? Just wanted to debase your currency because that's what governments tend to do, especially here in the United States, just debasing and ruining the currency. Oh, you do want that to be a feature, right? Right? So I'm serious, but that is what you'd want. As stupid as it is to ruin your own currency, that's what happens. So that was launched, but the point is, that increases the velocity of money, but you're not going to have on every platform a pair for every other pair that could exist. And so the point is you'd always need a bridge, and XRP is positioned to be the bridge. Now that is smart. That does make sense. I'm scared as hell about central bank digital currencies because I think it could be just a gigantic surveillance tool, government overreach, all that stuff. I have extreme concerns, but I also recognize they're not just coming, they're already here, and they're going to be here in greater numbers in the future. Ripple gets that as well. And so it's more like, as a society, just from nation to nation, you need to do what you need to do to make sure that you don't have overburdensome government overreach, all the surveillance state. That's up to each individual nation and the citizens within to figure out. Because it's already happened, so it's going to continue to happen. Ripple gets that. And the point is you're going to need to bridge all this. And so the velocity of money is going to increase, but that's why you increasingly will need bridges. People will be incentivized to move money faster when there's fewer headaches, but you still got to bridge it. XRP is being positioned for this perfectly. But just because that's the case, it doesn't mean that right now, on the back of this news, XRP was ever going to pump. And so the reason I didn't cover this literally yesterday, I thought about it, I was like, well, it's not that it's not newsworthy. It's just that I've covered other stuff like this before. It's not something that's, when you compare this to other stuff that's going on in crypto and with XRP in general, it's just like, I don't have enough time to in-depth talk about everything. I just don't. But then, so again, when I see that there's this headline and I just think it's flat out wrong, well, now I'm like, well, now I do want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm coming from. But yeah, of course, this is a positive for XRP. I'm not saying that it isn't. You're going to see more and more and more of this. And I think it's just going to further help cement XRP as the bridge currency because it's already understood that it's super good at that. And XRP has something that you can't program into anything else that you would want to be a bridge currency, which is liquidity. You can't program liquidity into a cryptocurrency. Either it exists because people are buying and selling, or it does not exist because people are not sufficiently buying and selling. So there we are. That's it. So I'll go ahead and leave it there. You guys let me know what you think. Interesting times that we live in. I mean, it's a great time to be an XRP holder. And I will say again, if you have your flare, do whatever you want, but look into the process for delegation. I've already done it I already got my massive amount of flare tokens back in January. And I got my 0.15 flare today, or yesterday, I guess. And then I also bought a bunch of flare recently. And we'll see what the hell happens. We've got just in a few days here, the second flare drop ever. Flare drop being different than the initial airdrop. We have the second flare drop coming up here. So I'm going to watch what happens. If price dumps, it dumps, but I don't know. Perhaps that would entice me to just buy even more. I purchased a lot in March, so I made a very large purchase. So we'll see. But anyway, I just wanted to make you aware, if you are somebody that just got your flare from Coinbase, if you want to participate in additional flare drops, and there's 36 in total, we've just had one of the 36, you do need to take action. It's not going to be automatic. You won't just keep getting flare tokens. You actually have to choose. And the people that aren't interested, the cool thing is they're selling. So I think the people that really don't have interest, that would otherwise just keep dumping on the market if you kept giving them these tokens, they're out. The people that are interested, I think that they're less likely to sell. There are people like me who are like, yeah, I'm just going to hang on to this and accumulate. But so we'll see. I could be wrong, but that's my suspicion. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.